I've written a column about this tomorrow, and one of the things I have asked in that column, Senator, is where are the parents of children who are as young as 5, 8, 10, 12, 13, doesn't matter the age, wandering the streets? Where are their parents, and what are their parents doing to have the children at home? Now, obviously you have this vexed question of whether you should take children away from some of these parents because they're simply not able to parent them properly. But no one's game to do that anymore because suddenly someone will start shouting out stolen generation again, won't they?
Well, that's exactly right. See, the circumstances for those individuals, for Aboriginal Australians who weren't necessarily part of the stolen generation, they're amongst the most marginalised Australians in this country. They have their language, they have a version of culture which is utterly dysfunctional because there's so much alcohol and substance abuse, yet they are the most ignored group of people in this country, and they are ignored by the stolen generation, who are largely in control of large Aboriginal organisations, who have had the opportunity to gain an education and access to all the services and everything that this country has to offer, yet they're setting the policies for children in these circumstances in places like the Northern Territory, who are remaining in those circumstances because the authorities has claimed that it's racist to remove them from dysfunction and are putting their culture before their actual human rights to live a life with dignity, without exposure to violence and sexual abuse. And it's high time, as a nation, we upheld these children's human rights to live in an environment that is caring for them, that is upholding their human rights, and that is giving them the opportunity to become adults and not incarcerated, not on the streets at night like they are in our community here, so that they can grow up to be adults to make decisions for themselves as to whether they want to know more about their culture or their heritage or those sorts of things, but so that they have choice, eventually have choice, because right now that's completely stripped from them because of policies that claim it's racist to uphold their human rights as Australian citizens of this country.
How much does it break your heart personally, Jacinta, when you see an 8-year-old child wandering around at 1 o'clock in the morning with older children committing crimes? How sad does it make you feel?
Oh, look, there's a level of, it's so prevalent, and it has been so prevalent. There's a level of desensitisation, but there's also a level of determination to fight for these kids that have to go through that. When I get told by foster parents who say, we've been bringing up this child since they're a baby, and now the agency wants to send them back out to a family who they don't know, who doesn't have the ability to meet their needs, ripped out of a home in a community like Alice Springs where they're going to school, where they have all their health, their special needs met, and put them into a situation where they're with a potential for them to be re-traumatised, to be sexually abused, and to have to go through all that again is usually 99.9% of the time is absolutely and utterly heartbreaking when you know that that can be prevented, and yet the powers that be are allowing that to happen. That in itself is criminal, and that is why I'll continue to fight for these kids, because I'll continue to fight for those families that are looking after these kids and upholding, their human rights. Enough is enough. We might have had the stolen generation. We've got a neglected, abused, and traumatised generation now, and they're right there for all of us to see on our streets.
Perfectly put, Senator. You're a champion. Thanks for talking to us. We'll talk again soon.